morning. I'm Councillor Diane Donaldson and I will be chairing this hearing of Subcommittee B of the Licensing and Public Protection Committee of Birmingham City Council. Before we start, can you all please mute your microphones for the moment in order to improve the sound quality whilst I outline the procedure. Can you also please turn off your cameras with the exception of committee members unless you're the person speaking. This is to reduce bandwidth. Committee members will have their cameras switched on throughout the hearing. Would everyone attending today's meeting please put their mobile phones on silent and ensure they're situated in a room or environment which is free from distractions or any unnecessary noise emanating from radios, TVs, etc. Thank you for that. I'm speaking slowly and clearly so everyone can follow. It is vitally important, for what I hope are obvious reasons, that those attending the meeting and making representations are able to hear me and members of my subcommittee and officers. Any distractions brought to my attention could result in the meeting being suspended temporarily or to another date and time under the regulations for these types of meetings. I also confirm this is a public meeting and is therefore being live streamed on the City Council's website in order that the general public can view it. I advise that this meeting will be webcast for live or subsequent broadcast via the Council's meeting YouTube site, details of which can be found in the agenda. Members of the press public may record and take photographs, except where there are confidential or exempt items. Members are reminded they must declare all relevant pecuniary and other registrable interests arising from any business to be discussed at the meeting. If a disclosable pecuniary interest is declared, a member must not participate in a discussion or vote on the matter and must not remain in the room unless they have been granted a dispensation. If other registrable interests are declared, a member may speak on the matter only if members of the public are allowed to speak in the meeting, but otherwise must not take part in any discussion or vote on the matter and must not remain in the room unless they've been granted a dispensation. If it is a sensitive interest, members do not have to disclose the nature of the interest, just that they have an interest. Information on the Local Governments Association Model Councillor Code of Conduct is set out in a link that can also be found in the agenda. This includes at Appendix 1 an interest flow chart which provides a simple guide to declaring interest at meetings. And no apologies were submitted for today's hearing. I'm going to welcome you to this hearing for a review of the premises licence in respect of Premier 393 Summer Lane, Newtown, Birmingham, B19 3PL. I'll begin with some introductions. My name is Councillor Diane Donaldson. I'm chairing this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. With me are the members of the subcommittee, Councillor Sadat Mir and Councillor Adam Higgs. Also present in the meeting are the following officers: Licensing Officer David Kennedy.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning. Committee Manager Katie Townsend.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning. And Committee Lawyer Joanne Swampilai.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning. Could I ask all parties to identify themselves, please? Firstly, the applicant, West Midlands Police, Chris Jones.
Good morning, Chair. Chris Jones, West Midlands Police Licensing Officer. Also present is PC Gerslem Dalton, who is mentioned in the statements. And for transparency, Chair, there's Holland Taj in the room who will be taking no active part in the hearing, just helping me out with some technical advice in sharing my screens and showing the CCTV.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Next, the premises licence holder and representative, Duncan Craig, barrister.
Good morning, Chair. The licence holder isn't with me today and won't be attending. He's unable to attend for personal reasons, but I am fully instructed, and there's no instructions for me to adjourn. So we on that basis, happy to proceed. Just to make things clear, that there was some footage that West Midlands Police are seeking to show today, which, being the Luddite that I am, I struggled to open over the weekend, and I continue to struggle to open it until yesterday afternoon. But thank you, Mr. Taj, for your assistance helping a middle-aged man try and cope with the technology. And so I haven't taken instructions upon the footage. What I am professionally able to do is challenge the footage in general terms. What I can't do, I don't have any particular instructions because I couldn't go through it with my client in advance because I just couldn't open it. So I'm just making you aware of that, but there's certainly no application to adjourn, and it's already been adjourned once, and so I am instructed to the extent I can conduct this hearing on behalf of the licence holder. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Craig.
Chair, Chair,
Sorry.
one more thing. I don't know if this is the right time to do this, just in respect of this hearing being publicly broadcast. I don't know if you want me to address that now or in a few minutes. I'm happy either way. It's a matter for you, Chair.
You can address your views now. Yep, that's fine.
Thank you. Just simply this, obviously you all have read the papers carefully. There is an ongoing investigation that is live, and I think just for an abundance of caution, really, for both parties' sake, I think it would be best that the entire hearing was held in private. I have discussed that with West Midlands Police this morning. I'll let them comment upon that themselves, but I just think in the circumstances, that's the normal course of events, and I see no reason to depart from it on this occasion. So that's the application, just that the hearing is held in private.
Fine, I'll take the views of West Midlands Police on this.
Chair, thank you. As Mr. Craig has said, it is an ongoing investigation. The CCTV will show.
Sorry, West Midlands Police. I can't hear you very well. Could you just speak up, please? Or
Yeah, apologies, Chair. It is an ongoing investigation. The CCTV has been passed over to the investigation team, and West Midlands Police would support Mr. Craig's application. The hearing be heard in private.
that's the entire hearing. You're happy for the entire hearing to be heard in private?
Yes, Chair, yeah.
Okay. We'll go into. I'll take members of my committee into private session, and we'll discuss this and then come back with our decision. Can we just adjourn, suspend the live stream? Thank you, and we'll move over into to resume the live stream, please. Welcome back to the hearing for Premier 393 Summer Lane, Newtown, Birmingham, B19 3PL. I'll announce the decision that the committee is happy for the hearing to be heard in private. So I'll go through the rest of the procedural rules, and then we'll have the presentation from Licensing Officer David Kennedy, and then we'll go into private session to hear the rest. Firstly, could I ask if there are any persons making representations wishes to withdraw their representation at this stage of the hearing?
Chair is no from West Midlands Police.
Thank you. I'll assume that all parties have read and understood the Licensing Committee's procedural rules sent out with the notice of today's hearing. Please note that given the nature of today's proceedings, I may at my discretion amend the procedural rules to reflect the fact that this meeting is taking place online, but wish to assure you all that any such amendments will not impact the party's right to a fair hearing. We'll be using the chat function in Microsoft Teams to communicate. One of the icons on your toolbar is a speech bubble. Click the speech bubble to go into chat. If you do not have access to the chat function for any reason, please use the raise a hand function to indicate you wish to speak. That button is usually fourth on the right of the toolbar. You can also, of course, indicate verbally that you wish to speak at the appropriate time. Can you all confirm that you have access to the chat facility by typing your own name now? Officers will also type their job title. The meeting will not proceed until you all have done so.
That's everyone, Chair.
Thank you, Katie. Please keep this chat column open for the entire duration of the meeting in order that everyone can follow the messages being posted in the chat. If any participant has dialed in on audio telephone rather than Microsoft Teams, please speak now to confirm that you can hear and be heard. I don't believe we have anyone dialing in this morning. With the exception of subcommittee members, please keep your camera off unless you're the person speaking. If there are any problems with bandwidth which cause difficulties with the sound, I may, in my discretion, ask everyone to turn their cameras off in order that the meeting can proceed with everyone able to hear and be heard. Does anyone wish to make any preliminary points at this stage? If so, please indicate that you wish to raise a point by typing speak into the chat function or using the raise a hand function now. Thank you. I'll now briefly outline the procedure which will be following at today's hearing. Firstly, the Licensing Officer David Kennedy will present the report. Then we will go into private session. Then the applicant will be asked to present their case. We're asking if this could be kept to approximately 20 minutes. Next, the licence holder and their representative will be invited to present their case. We're asking if this can be kept to approximately 20 minutes or so. You can ask all parties to speak as slowly and as clearly as they possibly can, because the officers are taking notes by hand for the minutes. The meeting is also being live streamed on the City Council's website. If at any time it's somebody else's turn turn to speak, please mute your microphone and use the chat function to communicate if necessary. Please note that members of the subcommittee will be able to ask questions at any stage, but will try to do so at the conclusion of each presentation. Cross-examination of the applicant and those making representations will not be permitted unless the members consider it appropriate. Where questions are raised by the members of the subcommittee or those present, they must signify this using the chat facility set out on the right-hand side of the screen you're viewing this meeting on. The meeting manager will alert me if I do not notice messages in the chat. I will determine verbally or in writing on the chat facility the order in which questions are dealt with. So at any point in the meeting, if you wish to speak, please type the word speak into the chat function and the meeting manager will ensure that we come to you at the appropriate moment. If at any point you cannot hear or having problems with your internet connection, please use the chat facility to alert the meeting manager. The chair will then ask the person speaking to repeat what they have just said. It is therefore important that you use the chat function as soon as you are unable to hear the person speaking. It may well be that the problem is caused by people still having their microphones or cameras on, which creates interference. So I remind everyone, please you mute your microphones and turn off your cameras when you're not the person speaking. Could I point out that occasionally it may be necessary for the subcommittee to take legal advice. At my discretion, I may ask all parties to wait in this meeting whilst members and the relevant officers withdraw to take legal advice using a separate meeting within Microsoft Teams. We will then return to this meeting and continue. Please note that if any time the live stream being broadcast on the City Council's website fails, I will ask you all to mute your microphones and cameras and to stop speaking until the live stream is restored. If at any time this meeting goes into private session, the meeting manager will pause the live stream. Once the private part of this meeting is over, I will ask the meeting manager to confirm that the live stream has resumed before we continue. At the conclusion of the hearing, I will invite all parties to make a brief closing submission. And I stress that no decision will be taken until all the evidence has been heard. At the decision-making stage, the members and the relevant officers will withdraw from this meeting in order to determine the decision. They will go into a separate Microsoft Teams meeting. In the event that members need to clarify any point, you'll be telephoned by the meeting manager. The members will then make their decision. You'll be notified of the decision of the subcommittee within 5 working days. I hope that's reasonably straightforward. So with that, can I ask Licensing Officer David Kennedy to present the report, please, as slowly and clearly as you can, please.
Thank you, Chair. West Midlands Police applied on the 25th of November 2022 for a review of the premises licence under Section 51 of the Licensing Act 2003 for Premier 393 Summer Lane, Newtown, Birmingham, B19 3PL. The review application is attached to Appendix 1. The premises licence is attached to Appendix 2 and site location plans are at Appendix 3. West Midlands Police have submitted a supporting evidence bundle containing 2 witness statements and a summary of CCTV footage, which are published at pages 35 to 48 of the agenda pack. West Midlands Police have also served the actual CCTV footage clips, which they intend to screen to members in private session. When carrying out its licensing functions, a licensing authority must have regard to Birmingham City Council's statement of licensing policy and the guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182 of the Act. The authority is required to take such steps as it considers appropriate to promote the 4 licensing objectives. The options available to the committee today are to modify the conditions of licence, exclude a licensable activity from the scope of the licence, remove the designated premises supervisor, suspend the licence for a period not exceeding 3 months, revoke the licence or take no action. Where the authority takes a step to modify conditions or exclude a licensable activity, It may provide that the modification or exclusion is to have effect for only such period, not exceeding 3 months, as it may specify. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, David. With that, we'll now move over into the private session. I ask that the live stream be paused until we return to this meeting. Thank you.
Chair, as all parties are going to be notified of the decision within 5 working days, we don't need to come back into the public session. So we can end the live stream.
Thank you. Okay, we'll see you everyone